Hello, sports fans. It is Tuesday, December the 15th, the year 2015. And as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys as we are ready for the bowl season in college football. I'm going to go through all the bowl games for you. I'm going to pick a few of them. I'm not going to pick all of them. There's way too many. Let me say this. I love sports more than anyone, and I follow and watch everything, from boxing to MMA to golf to swimming to Olympic sports. You name it, I'm watching it. I will watch two Beatles race, but 41 bowl games is a little much. I mean, you have to be kidding me. And most of these bowl matchups are absolutely unwatchable. And I hope the bowl games do great. I hope there's a sellout at every one of these games, which there won't be. I hope everyone watches these games. But come on, 41 bowl games, and most of the matchups are atrocious. I mean, I don't know where they even come up with some of these matchups. It used to be 6 and 6 teams got to a bowl game, which was ridiculous. Now there's a couple of 5 and 7 teams that make a bowl. So you don't even have to be a 500 team to make a bowl game. I mean, it's way too watered down. We love football because less is more. There's so few games. You're looking forward to the next game all week. But with these bowl games, 41 bowl games, way too many. We don't need all these bowl games. I'm sorry. And most of the matchups are just downright atrocious. And I love college football. But it's just hard to watch some of these games. I went through the list and I couldn't believe how many bad games there were. Now, we deal with it a little more because we have the Final Four playoff to look forward to. So you deal with these bad bowl matchups because you always got your Final Four, which I love. And by the way, the Final Four should be really the Final 8. They should really make it the best 8 teams or maybe the best 6 teams and have 2 teams with a bye. Final Four is headed in the right direction, but 8 is really where they need to be. Now, it's taken a step in the right direction, like I said. You used to have co-champions back in the day where the 2 best teams would go to 2 different bowl games. They both would win, and you'd have co-champions, which was absolutely mindless. Then they had the top 2 teams play, which was a little better, but not all that great either, because then you had a 3rd or a 4th team that was very good, and they were left out of the whole mix. So Final Four is definitely headed in the right direction, but you really need it to be the Final 8, I think. 8 seems to be the number where everyone thinks it would be perfect. But the Final Four is good, so I like that. But some of these other bowl matchups, let's get to them right now. The bowls start December 19th. Let's start with the Cure Bowl. Yes, the Cure Bowl, and that's another thing. Some of the names of these bowls, I don't get it. And they play a lot of these bowl games like in some of the schools' backyards. Like, if you notice when I go through some of the games, it's going to be on like a home field of one of the teams so they get the extra attendance. I mean, that's even ridiculous. The teams have a home game in these bowl games. But anyway, the Cure Bowl. Does anyone know where the Cure Bowl is? I had to look it up myself. The Cure Bowl is in the Citrus Bowl, which, by the way, is a pretty big stadium in Orlando. So you figure you have 2 big teams in Orlando, right? You know who's going to be playing in the Cure Bowl? San Jose State and Georgia State. I mean, how many fans is San Jose State bringing down from the West Coast to come down to Orlando for the Cure Bowl? I hope Georgia State brings some fans. I guess they will, because the Citrus Bowl is going to look mighty empty with San Jose State and Georgia State playing. I mean, are you kidding me? Who can actually sit through this game? Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate mail from the Georgia State alum and San Jose State students, and I know they're going to be all upset with me, but come on. San Jose State and Georgia State in Orlando? What kind of a game is that? I mean, let's move on to the next game. I don't even know what to say about that game other than totally unwatchable. The Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. Again, do you know where that is? Again, I had to look it up. That's in Atlanta. Alcorn State against North Carolina A&T. Not exactly a battle of the titans there in the Celebration Bowl down in Atlanta. Plenty of seats available if you want to get down to that game. I mean, again, here comes the hate mail from Alcorn State and North Carolina A&T fans. I mean, listen, I don't mean to bash these programs. They do a nice job. They have nice programs. This is more about the matchups in the bowl games. I mean, this is just not good TV. I mean, I can't see myself watching Alcorn State and North Carolina A&T from Atlanta. I just can't see myself doing it. Let's go to the next bowl. These are all December 19th, by the way, so far. The New Mexico Bowl, which is, of course, on New Mexico's campus, so they put New Mexico in the game. Arizona and New Mexico will be playing. So New Mexico basically has a home game here. I mean, New Mexico for New Mexico football has had a decent year for them. They're usually terrible. They have had a decent year. Arizona being in the New Mexico Bowl is a big disappointment. I mean, this game doesn't do anything for me either. I'm sorry. Let's move on. The Las Vegas Bowl, Utah and BYU. Now, these two teams are longtime rivals, so if you're interested in a rivalry game, and I don't know how many of you are outside of the state of Utah, but you have a Utah-BYU rivalry game here. Strange game, though, because BYU's coach just left to take the job at Virginia, so BYU is basically coachless. So I don't know what you're going to get here. They are big rivals, so maybe if you're into a rivalry game, you can sit through this. I'll give that one a maybe. The Camellia Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. Appalachian State and Ohio. Are you kidding me? Montgomery, Alabama, Appalachian State and Ohio. I mean, those are three combinations I never thought I'd hear. I mean, are you kidding me? The Camellia Bowl. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't think I'll be watching that one. And like I said, Appalachian State has had a nice program. Remember, they beat Michigan a few years ago, but come on. You can't, unless you are affiliated with this school, if you're a neutral fan like me, you can't be watching this game. You just can't. The New Orleans Bowl, Louisiana Tech and Arkansas State. Again, maybe you get some Louisiana Tech fans down there. These two programs are good little programs, but again, this has no national appeal. This has no, I mean, you're going to sit down there, you know, at 8 o'clock at night or whatever time this game is on and have your popcorn and you're getting ready for, you know, Louisiana Tech and Arkansas and you're excited about it. Yeah, I can't wait for that New Orleans Bowl, Louisiana Tech and Arkansas. I mean, definitely sign me up for that one. I mean, I can't see anyone getting excited about this game either. So right off the bat, I went through 6 bowl games, and all of them are just pretty much ridiculous. I mean, maybe Utah BYU because it's a rivalry game, but I'm stretching myself there. All right, let's go to December 21st. The Miami Beach Bowl, which is, I guess, one of the newer bowl games. Western Kentucky and South Florida. Again. And here's another thing. A lot of people have emailed me over the years, and they think South Florida, the University of South Florida, is down in Miami. It's not. South Florida University is actually near Tampa, which is the west coast of Florida. So I'm perplexed by why they call themselves South Florida. It should be West Florida. But I guess South Florida has more of a sexy name when you're recruiting and stuff. But again, this matchup does nothing for me at all. December 22nd, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Utah State and Akron. I mean, come on. I mean, Utah State and Akron from Idaho. Again, the combinations of things going on here just leads to just bad TV. Still on December 22nd, the Boca Raton Bowl, Temple and Toledo. I mean, I know Temple had a very surprising year this year, and they did a great job. But again, if you're going to go down to Boca Raton, I don't think Temple Toledo is on the top of your list of things to do, and I'm just guessing there. December 23, the Poinsettia Bowl from San Diego, Boise State and Northern Illinois. And for Boise State, this is a big step backwards. I mean, Boise State was thinking a few years ago about contending for national titles. Now they're in the Poinsettia Bowl against Northern Illinois. Again, the game does nothing for me. The GoDaddy Bowl. in Mobile, Alabama. Bowling Green and Georgia Southern. Are you kidding me? I mean, maybe if you're lucky, Danica Patrick shows up and signs a few autographs because she's affiliated with GoDaddy. She's usually down there for this bowl game. Maybe you can get a picture with Danica Patrick. Other than that, I don't know what you're going to get from Bowling Green and Georgia Southern from Mobile, Alabama. December 24th. Christmas Eve, the Bahamas Bowl, yes, the Bahamas Bowl, Western Michigan and Middle Tennessee State. Again, if you're going down to the Bahamas for the holidays, I don't think Western Michigan and Middle Tennessee State is on top of your list of things to do down there in the Bahamas. I mean, that is a rough game. Again, December 24th, Christmas Eve, the Hawaii Bowl, Cincinnati and San Diego State. I mean, okay at best. Nothing I'm going to plan my Christmas Eve around, that's for sure. I mean, hold on, I'm going to tell the family, hold off on the Christmas Eve plans. I got to watch Cincinnati and San Diego State. I mean, come on, that's rough. On Christmas Eve, that's brutal. December 26th, the St. Petersburg Bowl, Marshall and UConn. Again, Marshall and UConn from Tampa, Florida. And I know all the UConn alums are going to be yelling at me. I know UConn has had a decent year for UConn football, and they play some good defense, but come on. Marshall and UConn from Tampa the day after Christmas. Again, I don't think I'll be watching that one. So far, I don't think I'll be watching any of these games. Maybe Utah BYU because I like rivalry games, but I am stretching it there just to find something. December 26th, the Sun Bowl, which has been around forever. I mean, the Sun Bowl has a long history. They usually do a nice job. Washington State and Miami. Now listen, Miami fired their coach during the year. They did rally at the end of the year in the weak ACC, but Miami did get to a bowl game after firing their coach. Washington State, who was thinking about firing Leach after week one, actually had a decent year. Their quarterback looks like he will play. He can sling it. You will get a lot of points in this game, probably. So if you're looking for a lot of points and some bad defense, this may be the game for you. Again, I don't like to see all offense and no defense, so I don't like shootout games. I see enough of that in the Big 12. I like a little defense played, so this game is probably not for me. But if you like shootouts, this game might be for you. The Heart of Dallas Bowl, Washington and Southern Miss. I mean, again, they're playing this game in, I believe, the old Cotton Bowl, and you bring Washington down from the great Northwest to play in Dallas against Southern Miss. Again, what kind of crowd are they going to have for this game? I mean, Southern Miss, I hope you guys bring a nice contingent, because I don't think the Washington Huskies are going to bring all that many people from Seattle. I mean, again, another strange, bizarre matchup. I do like Washington going forward next year. They have a lot of good young talent. But as far as this game, again, doesn't interest me. The Pinstripe Bowl, which is not too far from here at Yankee Stadium, Indiana against Duke. Is this a basketball game? If it's a basketball game, sign me up. I'm going to Yankee Stadium. Are they putting a court there at Yankee Stadium in the middle of the field? Oh no, this is a football game at Yankee Stadium. Indiana football and Duke football. And I know Duke's done some good things building up that football program. They did have a disappointing year this year. They really fell apart after they lost that game to Miami. But again, Duke, Indiana from Yankee Stadium. I mean, what kind of crowd? There's going to be no buzz for this game at all. The Camping World Independence Bowl. Virginia Tech and Tulsa, and I believe Virginia Tech was, 6-6 this year? This is Beamer's last year. Unless you're interested in Beamer's last game, again, this game does absolutely nothing for me. I watched Tulsa a lot this year. Wasn't all impressed with them. Same thing with Vatech. They had to win like their last game to get to a bowl game. I mean, again, if you're interested in Beamer's last game, maybe you can sit through this. I cannot. Moving right along. The Foster Farms Bowl from Santa Clara. UCLA and Nebraska. And oh, by the way, Nebraska went 5-7 this year. Yes, Nebraska, the historic great program Nebraska, went 5-7 and made a bowl game. Needed a waiver from the NCAA to make this bowl game. Now listen, you look at this game on paper, you're like, oh, UCLA, Nebraska, two prestigious programs. Yeah, Nebraska's 5-7. How could you get excited about this? Even if they win, they ended up the year 6-7. I cannot get excited about that game at all. I just can't. I mean, I know the programs have history, but come on, Nebraska's 5-7 this year. December 28th, the Military Bowl, Navy against Pittsburgh. Coincidentally, this is being played on Navy's campus, another one of these home games. I mean, both of these teams had nice years. Navy beat Army again for the 100th straight year. I get it. Pittsburgh, I mean, had a decent year, but again, are you going to flock down to Annapolis, Maryland to watch Navy-Pittsburgh? It's just not intriguing football to me. I just cannot get excited about it at all. The Quick Lanes Bowl, Minnesota and Central Michigan from Detroit. Minnesota is another 5-7 team that made a bowl game, and they're favored by 6. Minnesota went 5-7, needed a waiver to get to the game, and they're favored by 6. What does that tell you about Central Michigan? What does that tell you about this bowl game? Let's move on. December 29th, the Armed Forces Bowl from Fort Worth, Texas. I believe this is on the campus at TCU. Cal and Air Force. Again, you're bringing Cal to Texas. They're not going to get a big contingent of fans. Maybe Air Force brings, the academy with them. But again, Cal, Air Force, what a bizarre matchup. Again, does nothing for me. December 29th still, the Russell Athletic Bowl. We're back in the Citrus Bowl. The Citrus Bowl holding multiple bowl games. Baylor and North Carolina. I mean, here we go again. If you want a game that's going to be 70-63, this is your game. By the way, who's quarterbacking Baylor? The last time I saw them, they had their fourth-string quarterback playing. So who's quarterbacking Baylor and who's going to play defense in this game? That's the big question here. To me, it's an okay game if you like offense. I like a little more defense. And who's quarterbacking Baylor? The Arizona Bowl from Tucson, Arizona. Colorado State and Nevada. I mean, does that do anything for anyone? I mean, really? Colorado State and Nevada. I mean, this to me should be a game during the regular season. I mean, Colorado State, Nevada, this does nothing for me at all. Moving on, the Texas Bowl, LSU and Texas Tech. Again, LSU was about to fire Miles. They keep him on. Texas Tech gives up 4 billion points. You will get a good crowd in this game because LSU fans travel everywhere, so they'll be here. They will go everywhere. The LSU fans are great. They'll be in attendance. Texas Tech will bring over some of their fans. So you'll get a little ambiance in this game. But to me, I mean, Texas Tech has no defense. I'm going to pick this game, by the way. I'm going to take LSU minus 6.5 because I don't think Texas Tech can stop anyone. I think Fournette is going to run for 300 yards in this game for LSU, and I think LSU is going to score at will. Look for Fournette to carry the ball 30 times and have 300 yards. I mean, but again, not a great game to watch. December 30th, the Birmingham Bowl, Auburn and Memphis. Auburn did not have a good year at all this year, a very disappointing year. Memphis started strong but fizzled at the end. Again, another game that could be a shootout game. Does nothing for me. I'll pick the game. I'll take Auburn minus 2.5 because I think the SEC can handle Memphis. Now, I know Memphis did have a big win over Ole Miss this year, but they were home for that game. I think here in Birmingham, that will be a lot of Auburn fans. I'm going to hope Auburn can take care of Memphis. Should be a lot of points. Again, the game doesn't do much for me, though, but I'll take Auburn there. The Belk Bowl from Charlotte, North Carolina. Mississippi State and North Carolina State. I mean, this is, again, ho-hum, okay. I mean, if you're sick and you can't get out of bed that day, you could turn it on. But are you really going to plan your day around the Belk Bowl? Not me. It's mediocre at best. The Music City Bowl, Texas A&M and Louisville, again, two teams that were very disappointing this year. Texas A&M, there were some teams that thought they'd win the national championship. Far from it. This game, again, does very little for me. Two disappointing teams. The Holiday Bowl from San Diego, which traditionally is a wild and woolly game. USC and Wisconsin. Wisconsin, to me, I know they had a good record, but this wasn't one of the better Wisconsin teams I've seen. I'm going to take this game. I'm going to take USC -3 against Wisconsin. This was just not a great Wisconsin team. Their offense wasn't what it used to be. So I'm going to take USC here. Again, the game, I would call it okay at best. Not going to knock your socks off. December 31st, the Peach Bowl, which has a lot of history. They always get a great crowd in this game. Florida State and Houston. Houston had a tremendous season, but they didn't play all that many great teams. Florida State, for them, had a disappointing year, lost a couple games. We'll see how good Houston is playing Florida State. This is a step up in competition for them. It's okay. You want to see how Houston plays against a better team, but again, I don't think you're going to be planning your New Year's Eve around the Peach Bowl. I mean, let's hold up the ball dropping in New York City. I got to watch the end of this Peach Bowl. Now hold off on the New Year's Eve celebrations. Let's see the end of this Peach Bowl. I don't think that's happening, but I would call it okay. January 1st, we're already up to January 1st here. You see how many bad games there are. The Outback Bowl, Tennessee and Northwestern. Again, Tennessee, I think, is headed in the right direction. Tennessee, I think, has a bright future. Northwestern has had a very nice year, considering they're Northwestern. Not an easy place to win at. Again, this game doesn't do much for me. It's okay. Tennessee should bring a big contingent there to Tampa. I don't think it's a great game, though. I mean, New Year's Day, you want to have some great games. I don't think this is great. The Citrus Bowl, Michigan and Florida. I mean, we know Harbaugh is going to get it done at Michigan eventually. They got bombed by Ohio State the last game of the year. Florida can't score at all. Their offense is atrocious. Their defense is real good. They can't score. Once Florida suspended their quarterback, they can't move the ball from here to there. I'm going to take Michigan -4 in this game. The game should be a sloppy, defensive, ugly game. If you love defense and no offense, this is the game for you. The Fiesta Bowl, Ohio State and Notre Dame. Ohio State being in this game is a major disappointment for them. They wanted to be in the Final Four playoff, had that terrible loss to Michigan State at home when Michigan State was playing with their backup quarterback. So Ohio State being in the Fiesta Bowl is a big letdown. They did bomb Michigan the last game of the year. Notre Dame, considering what they had to deal with this year, the injuries, the quarterback being out, they had a very nice year. Only lost a couple games, were in both of those games. So Notre Dame, under the circumstances, has had a very nice year. It's a very interesting game because what are you going to get from Ohio State? You're going to get the Ohio State that bombed Michigan, or you're going to get the Ohio State that sludged their way through most of the year and lost to Michigan State at home. Never know what you're going to get from from Ohio State. You get the best Ohio State, they're going to win here. They just go into this game like they don't care. Notre Dame's going to come up and bite them. Very hard game to predict. I guess it's a good game. I mean, you got two historic programs. I'll give this game a thumbs up. But again, with nothing being on the line here, I mean, it's not a Final Four playoff game. That does take something out of it. But I don't want to kill the game. I think it's okay. I think you can get through this one. The Rose Bowl, which, listen, we all love the Rose Bowl. It's got a lot of tradition. It's on the perfect time, New Year's Day, when everyone's, back awake and, they've recovered from the night before. You're looking to watch some football. You got Stanford and Iowa. Stanford, they've built a really nice program the last few years. They got McCaffrey, who was up for the Heisman. Iowa had the heartbreaking loss to Michigan State. There should be a big contingent from both sides here. They will fill up the Rose Bowl. It's always sold out. The sights and the scenes make this game worth watching. I got to give this game a thumbs up just because of the tradition of the Rose Bowl. All right, so that is the Rose Bowl. I can't believe how many games there are. I'm on my fifth page here. The Sugar Bowl. from New Orleans, Ole Miss and Oklahoma State. I'm going to take this game. I'm going to take Ole Miss minus 6.5 here. Oklahoma State fizzled at the end of the year. Ole Miss, after they beat Alabama, they kind of struggled for a lot of the year. They came back a little bit at the end, but I think Ole Miss is just better here. I'm going to take SEC over Big 12. The game is okay. I don't think it's all that great. I would say okay at best. Not a must-watch. January 2nd, the Tax Slayer Bowl, Georgia and Penn State. This is from Jacksonville. Georgia, of course, has a new coach. There'll be a ton of Georgia fans, that come over from the border there. Jacksonville's right on the border of Georgia, so you'll get a ton of Georgia fans. You got two historic programs, but Georgia just fired their coach, had a disappointing year, and Penn State is not exactly, fun to watch. So I don't love this game. I just don't. It's not a great game to me at all. The Liberty Bowl, Arkansas and Kansas State. I'm going to take this game. I'll take Arkansas minus 11.5. But again, Kansas State, did they really deserve to be in a bowl game? What were they, 6-6 this year? I know Bill Snyder does a great job. I know he does, but this team was not a good team this year. So I think Arkansas should roll in this game. Again, I don't think Kansas State should even be in a bowl game. The Alamo Bowl from San Antonio, TCU and Oregon. Again, if you like 80 to 73 games, this is your game. TCU had a lot of injuries this year. Oregon had the disappointing start to their season, came on late. But again, when you look up, you expect bigger things from Oregon. Oregon has let me down so much in the past, but I haven't learned my lesson. I'll take them here. I'll take Oregon +1. I think there's going to be so many points scored. That's usually Oregon's game, when it's that type of game, when it's all finesse and no defense, and it's not a in-the-trenches game. So I'll take Oregon +1. If you like these type of 80 to 73 games, this is your game. The Cactus Bowl from Tempe. Coincidentally, Arizona State is in the game. Arizona State and West Virginia. Again, Arizona State's favored by 1. I'll take them because they're playing a home game here. But again, this is not must-watch TV. It's just not. It's not a great matchup at all. But I'll take Arizona State there. Then we're on to our Final Four playoff. We're back to December 31st, New Year's Eve. The Cotton Bowl, Alabama -9 against Michigan State. I'll tell you, being on New Year's Eve, these games, it's going to be tough to watch these games. A lot of people have plans, especially New Year's Eve night. I love the Final Four playoff. I'm wondering why they put them on New Year's Eve, both of these games. I guess one of them's going to be earlier in the day, but one of them's going to be at night. I guess that's for the people that all stay home, or maybe they're watching this game as they're out, or they're watching it before they go out. Tough to have these games on New Year's Eve. Cotton Bowl, Alabama -9 against Michigan State. Listen, I think Michigan State did a great job just getting here. Had a lot of adversity. Had the unbelievable win against Michigan. The unbelievable win against Ohio State. They did a great job coming back against Iowa. Did a great job getting here. The problem with this game is Michigan State is going to have to out-Alabama. They're playing Alabama's game here. These teams play a similar style, and Alabama is just better at it. I know the spread is high. I know a lot of my friends like Michigan State in this game, but I'm going to take Alabama. It's hard to out-Alabama, and I think the styles are very similar, and that favors Alabama. They play that style better than anyone. I'll take Alabama -9 against Michigan State in the Cotton Bowl. That's semifinal number 1. Semifinal number 2 down in the Orange Bowl. Oklahoma is 3.5-point favorite over Clemson. Clemson went undefeated this year. Blew out Oklahoma last year in the bowl game, but Oklahoma is getting a lot of respect. Came on late in the year after they had lost inexplicably to Texas. Oklahoma is as hot as anyone, and everyone is picking Oklahoma to win the national title. I am not sold on Oklahoma. I think they've done a good job getting here. I like what they did the end of the year, but they beat some teams that were banged up. Baylor and TCU were banged up. They lost to Texas. They should have lost to Tennessee. Even the TCU game, they almost let that game slip away. So I'm not sold on Oklahoma. I'm going to grab the 3.5 points here with Clemson. I think Clemson at least keeps it close, and I'm going to pick Clemson to actually win this game. I'm going to take Clemson +3.5 against Oklahoma down in the Orange Bowl. Should be a great atmosphere down there. Both fan bases should be well represented. So I am going to have an Alabama-Clemson national title game a week later in Arizona. And I'm going to take Alabama. I don't know what the spread is going to be. But I'm going to take Alabama just because I think their defense is better than Clemson. And at the end of the day, I like the SEC better than the ACC. The ACC was a very soft conference this year. All Clemson's big games were basically at home this year. And I love what Clemson has done. I love the coach. Very enthusiastic. They've built a tremendous program in Clemson. Clemson, you ever get down there, you'll have a ball. It's a great place to watch a game. But I just think Alabama is going to win just because of their defense. I know they're going to make stops when they have to. I don't know if Clemson can, so I'll take Alabama to win the national championship. But, I mean, out of 41 bowl games, and let's leave the Final Four out of it, how many of these games are you going to watch? I mean, maybe a handful. I mean, did I even come up with 5 games that I'm going to watch outside of the Final Four playoff? Maybe, but there's not much going on. Some of these bowl matchups are absolutely atrocious. The sites, I mean, you got teams that are 5-7 in these bowl games. It's just absolutely absurd. I mean, I can't take it. Way too many bowl games, way too watered down. I mean, way too watered down. By the way, I didn't mention the Heisman over the weekend. No surprise that the Alabama running back won the Heisman. The Heisman, by the way, the Heisman Trophy ceremony is the biggest waste of time. I'm not a big award show, as you know. I used to watch them all when I was younger. Now I don't watch any award show. I don't care if it's the ESPYs or the Music Awards, which is just atrocious, or the Oscars, or you know, the anything. I mean, I don't care what it is, the Grammys, but the Heisman Trophy award ceremony is absolutely unwatchable. It's like 2 hours of nonsense. Now they only have 3 players in New York. It used to be 5. I mean, to me, it should be 10. There's so many other players they could have brought to New York, you know, for at least a presentation. We knew the Alabama running back was going to win. I mean, that was no secret. There is absolutely no drama either with these Heisman Trophy things. You know who's going to win, you know, 2 weeks in advance. Bring 10 guys there. Bring the Navy quarterback. Bring some other people. I mean, the LSU running back, who everyone loved during the year, didn't even get an invite. What, the NCAA can't afford to bring 10 guys to New York? Bring these guys up to New York. Some of these people will never be to New York in their lives. Some of them have never been to New York. Bring 10 players. Let them enjoy themselves. It used to be 5. Now they cut it down to 3. There's no drama. We knew who was going to win. It's a 2-hour show of nonsense. I mean, come on, NCAA. You can't afford to bring 10 guys to New York? I mean, what a joke. The whole ceremony is a joke. And like I said, I hate all award shows. They're all unwatchable. The ESPYs, the Oscars, the Grammys, the Music Awards. I mean, I don't care what it is. And the Heisman Trophy is one of the most unwatchable shows on TV. 2 hours of nonsense. Come on the air, hand out the award, and let's go. We knew the Alabama running back was going to win it for weeks now. I mean, come on, there's no drama whatsoever. And get more guys to New York. Bring 10 players. It used to be 5, now they've cut it down to 3. It's absolutely ridiculous. So we're going to spend 2 hours on 3 players. We're going to interview their family, their cousin, this one, their high school coach. Unwatchable TV. So that's my feelings on the Heisman. So as you can see, I'm a little upset today. Too many bowl games. Don't like the Heisman Trophy ceremonies. But anyway, you got some picks for your bowl games. You got your Final Four. You got all that stuff. And the bowls start this weekend. So come this weekend, you're going to have nonstop bowl action for the next few weeks. Anyway, you guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. You have your NFL picks, which I did yesterday. You guys, enjoy yourself. Pick a lot of winners. Make a lot of money. Thanks so much for your support. I will be back with you guys very, very soon. Enjoy the games. Try and enjoy these bowl games. Take care.